It has been an incredible month since I have announced my bid to run for the Ohio governor. I've got an amazing team. We've put the effort in. I've gained new perspective. Not all of it good. Some of it negative, what I found. But what I found is the truth, and you keep pushing forward. Today I'm going to share one of my speeches. This was in front of the Delaware County Republicans, and it's one where I decided to give a different kind of speech. You see, the other people that were there before are candidates, and they were speaking 100 miles an hour, using all the tired rhetoric. And I decided to speak from the heart, speak direct, show the contrast. So today, I simply want to show you that. But it's time to start making new YouTube videos and connect once again. Here we go. Well, thank you all for having me. My name is Putsch. I live in Perrysburg, Ohio with my wife, 3-year-old daughter, and a bun in the oven. Well, I like stories because it's something we all relate to. And just out in the parking lot, something frankly heartbreaking happened to me. When I took off my overcoat and was getting in the car, I lost my lapel pin. And that was given to me from President Trump in 2018 as a Lifetime Achievement Award in education. That bothers me. But you gotta let it go. You see, I got that because I created the Genius Garage Educational Programs. That's a 501c3 public educational charity. And my wife and I started that in 2013 because I didn't like what I was seeing with the higher American educational system, specifically engineering. Our students are in an academic vacuum, and we forget that what they have to do is grow to be in the real world. And that was something that held me back when I was in school. So I figured if I was going to be involved with cars and airplanes anyway for fun, I should do it in a way that matters and build a curriculum so that I can mentor the best and brightest young people based on what's in their head and their hearts, and they don't have to be charged to be there. We build and prepare professional level racing cars, build actual airplanes, and mentor them in industrial design. And after doing that for a number of years, not getting paid, I had enough hours to get the Achievement Award from Donald Trump, and that meant a lot to me. So why did I bring that up? Well, it relates to how I care and who I am, which you need to know. And then I'll get to the point of that you all have your night, so thank you for having me. So still doing Genius Garage, it's been 11 years, I don't get paid. It has stymied my career hugely, because I can promise you when you put over 1,000 hours a year into something and you don't get paid, it's very difficult to have a job. But I care because it's made a difference. And that's why my students, from directly mentoring them, get amazing jobs everywhere from Lockheed Martin to Tesla, GM, Ford, Marathon, and a million startup companies, and it makes a difference. But in doing that and turning over every stone, there's no support. There's no support from the state, from the government, nothing merit-based. Oh, some of those things exist, but only if you're born into extreme poverty, you're an ex-felon, you're an alcoholic, a drug addict, that sort of thing. What the heck are we doing to our future? But that was heartbreaking to me, because I keep working and at least you get an acknowledgement. It won't buy me a cup of coffee, but it meant a lot, and I supported Donald Trump all the way. Truthfully, I've been very critical of a number of things that have happened this year, but I think we can all agree if we can't be critical of our own party from time to time, how are we all going to continue forward? But I also built something called the Omega Car, which earlier last year I got to be on Tucker Carlson's show speaking about. When Obama's rhetoric was talking about how he'd retool Detroit way back when in 2008 and 9, I thought he was full of beans. And I was right. But that bothered me. And a few years later, I set out to build the Omega Car, and I said it will get over 100 miles to the gallon, and we'll do 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. It was a recyclable car concept. And I did just that. And I sat on it for years because I didn't have a voice. Well, when Trump was running against Kamala, I thought, dear God, we can't have Kamala. So it's time for me to test this car, get the numbers, and speak out. Stand up, even at my own risk for Trump. First time out of the box, the car got 104.72 miles to the gallon on straight diesel alone. No testing, no extra tuning, that's it. The next day I did 0 to 60 testing and beat my Dodge Viper 0.2 of a second, exactly matched the Tesla. The third day I did the math on the EPA's number of the carbon offset. My car on straight diesel alone has a lower carbon footprint than an EV does. per mile when charged at home. But there's no support for that in the future, is there? They try to shove electric vehicle mandates down our throat, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Joe Biden. And then lastly, the watch I'm wearing tonight, a prototype that has parts from Switzerland, and it meets the NASA requirements for the astronauts. And I could supply it to the Artemis missions around the moon that are coming up this year and over the next couple of years and take it away from Omega in Switzerland. And that was the point of tariffs, so that we can bring American manufacturing here, back to America instead of somewhere else. But there's no support. So at 44 years of age, I've got a car that beats an EV in terms of being environmentally friendly, that can be produced cheaply. There's no support. I built an educational program that gets unbelievable young people that I've mentored of every background you can imagine amazing jobs. There's no support. I'm wearing a watch that could go to the moon, built in America. There's no support. I find that more than heartbreaking. I started becoming an automotive YouTuber some years ago because I could get no publicity for the nonprofit I was doing. I had college students that were fixing up old Indy cars and racing them, getting amazing jobs. No support, no exposure. So yes, I've told sophomoric and silly automotive stories on YouTube. I even got mad. And I'll finish up here, thank you. So I'm running for governor. What pushed me there? Well, my soul was on fire because I was observing what was going on. Now, I'm not going to refer about by name because I don't really feel like slinging mud. But we have somebody currently running for governor who did not go to higher school in Ohio, went to Harvard and Yale, and had a college scholarship paid for by George Soros money. He has no businesses in Ohio. Despite his massive wealth of over somewhere like $2 billion, he has done no philanthropy in Ohio. He got a tweet from our president after he seemingly left a very important money-saving thing for America under strange circumstances, that he'd be a swell guy for Ohio. But the year before, our president said that his campaign was deceitful. I find that heartbreaking. I find that heartbreaking of all the work that I've ever done to try to better the future with no support. That a billionaire can buy their way in. Use American taxpayer donated money to buy their way in. That seemingly is here to facilitate things like data centers for billionaire buddies that have massive tax abatements that get slipped in under the cover of night with NDA forms that the people pay for through spiked electricity prices, subsidizing the cost. That uses massive quantities of fresh water for aquifers like Erie, the Ohio River Valley for cooling. They're a net loss to Ohio. H-1B visas, a federal thing, yes, but facilitating that. After spending over a decade helping the best and brightest young people, and some politicians and leaders say we don't have bright enough people here, we have to replace them with cheap Indian labor. 70% of H-1Bs are from India, largely the rest are Chinese. No. That's immediate profit gains for corporations. It destroys the job market for young people that have done it right. They've gone to school, they've got good grades, they've been in debt. And we're destroying our future before it begins for the short-term game of billionaires and corporations. Now, I know the left likes to beat up on billionaires. Newsflash, I'm not a leftist. Never have been. Registered as a Republican when I was in high school. My grandfather was a Republican. Proud military of the family going way back to the 1800s. Battle of Okinawa, Vietnam, F-4 Phantoms, these are the men who raised me. We had a small golf course in Tiffin, Ohio, where I saw everybody, tens of thousands of people growing up. How American manufacturing left our little town in the 80s and 90s because of the government. Financial crisis, poor spending of the government, how that destroyed things. I saw it all as a young person growing up. We had to be responsible for ourselves. That's what led me to do all these things to try to make the future better. But we don't get to. So a billionaire gets to buy his way in. I'm not a leftist plant. I'm a man with a heart, with conservative values that's been working hard. You know, property taxes, I don't like them. With the massive cost of everything going on, We have seniors on fixed incomes that are at risk of losing their homes. We have young people that won't get to buy a home because corporations and private equity companies end up buying mass quantities of private homes. They're overly competitive, and then they sell them to inflated rates to other people who inflate the market. Politicians will say nothing because, oh, maybe they can collect higher taxes. The people say nothing because they think they're worth more when they're not. But young people won't get a home, and our seniors are at risk of losing them. Yeah, people worry about property taxes. If we get rid of those, how do we fund schools? About 60-some%. It was at $16.8 billion went to schools in 2024. How much waste, fraud, and abuse are we going to find with the Somali stuff? Would that alone pay for it? The property tax thing is more than just cutting that. I know people are scared and say, well, we can't pay for our police, we can't pay for schools. I know we can. We all know how wasteful the government is, but the biggest thing about doing that is it puts some power back to the people. So if we're going to have to fund things like schools, guess what? The people are going to get to vote on it. And it won't be bureaucrats taking that power away. So yes, I am here, as serious as can be, running to be governor. I've always been a Republican because those are the values of my family going back generations, which somebody else looks down their nose upon and tries to lecture us on what an American is. I don't think so. So that's it, guys. I would like your endorsement because this is a team effort. Ohio is only the people, and that's what I care about first and foremost. I'm not a billionaire, and I know how risky this is. If they could set up and take me out on my family and then make it look like I was something that gives them political gain, they'll do it tomorrow or tonight. But I don't care, because I'll risk my life so we all have a future. And that's why I'm here. I'd like to do it with you, and I'd like to do it as your governor candidate. Thank you.